From the Excellence Anniversary Gala, what have I learned? Well, I've learned as far as for the power of community. I understand the importance of really just being together in sync. It was an amazing event. I got a chance to meet people from all over the world, and it was truly an experience. So the Excellence Anniversary Gala was everything in which that I mentioned and then some. It was just absolutely fantastic. And I also learned the power of synergy, of vision, of organization, and more so by faith. What's next for Excellent Global Events? Well, it was just announced, if you will, that for the month of April of 2027, we're going to be taking our talents and be having a commencement event held all the way in Nassau, Bahamas. And with that, we're going to be launching, as far as our Bahamas branch, with Dr. Apostle Clinton, which is actually our ambassador out there in the Bahamas. So him and his organization is going to be coming out. And again, just like with this one that we just recently had in Brownsville, Tennessee, also it's going to be people that's going to be flying in for all over the world. So it's going to be an amazing event. And again, it's going to be an experience. Great question. So with the NFL, what are the storylines that I'm very excited about? Well, I'm glad that you asked me that, my friend. I can definitely tell you that there's going to be a couple. For one, with the LA Rams, I'm going to be looking to see how that pairing of Myles Garrett and Aaron Donald mesh. I really want to see, as far as with Matthew Stafford, if he can actually, the quarterback from the LA Rams, if he can actually match from last year's great performance. I'm also curious too to see more so the up and coming teams like the Jacksonville Jaguars. I would say the Oakland Raiders. I'm very curious to see on how the Kansas City Chiefs, how they actually bounce back because they had a very disappointing season. The Cowboys, they're looking very, very good as well. And I'm also curious about my New York Giants. We have a new coach, and with that, brand new culture. So I'm very curious to see what this season is going to be. Very interesting. It's going to be a lot of great storylines, but those are the ones that really kind of stick out to me for sure. So who I think will be the MVP? I think that it's either going to come down to two people, either Dak Prescott or it's going to be Lamar Jackson. And the reason being is because both of them are super, super hungry. Dak, he was definitely balling out the Cowboys quarterback. He was balling out last year. And this year, I think he really got something to prove because they definitely have the team to really go all the way. Obviously, it's going to be some resistance, of course, right? That's sports. But he has a great shot this year. If everything goes right, going all the way. And I think likewise with Baltimore as well, with the Ravens last year, they started out slow, they finished strong, but at the same token, they didn't really have enough momentum to really carry them through. So I'm really looking forward as far as for this year to see how Lamar Jackson really face that adversity and come out with a chip on his shoulder. Because in sports, just like in life, when you have a chip on your shoulder, a little something extra, a little extra oomph, if you will, it's amazing to see the power and the will of human beings. So yeah, great question. The power of storytelling. My friend, this is actually great. What creates a great story? Well, I can tell you for one, it really depends. It depends on a lot of different factors. But for starters, whoever is telling the story, they have to be able to know their audience on what they're looking for. In the speaking industry, anytime you do any kind of public speaking, it's always great to know who your audience is, right? What's most important to them. Because if you're able to discover that, you can then tailor your story based upon your audience, number one. Secondly, it has to be a great intro. So within a few minutes, or I would say within the first 5 to 10 seconds, you have to have a great intro. You have to have something that's going to grab a person's attention. Because within those 5 to 10 seconds, if you do not, doesn't matter if it was a great story, you pretty much lost them. Also, too, it has to have a great hook. I want you guys to think about a story. I want you to think about a movie. Who's some of your favorite characters? Why you go to a movie to begin with? It's because of the plot. It's because of a great hook. It's because of the characters. So I want you to really think about that. And number three, it has to have depth. Where are we going in this? What are you trying to convey? Because it's great just to tell a story, but there's no point to it, right? As you're telling the story, then you're going to lose people because they're going to be like, okay, it was exciting, it was great, but what was the point? What were some things that I could have took away from it? And then I would say another thing that creates a great story is that it's legendary. There was a moment where you remember. Thus, the greatest speakers in the world or the great storytellers, the authors, they know how to leave that lasting impression. I want you guys to think about the author from The Lord of the Rings. I believe her name is J.K. Toller, if I'm not mistaken, or Rowlings, one of those. But the author from The Lord of the Rings, she knew how from one book, right, would then springboard to another book, and then to another book, because she understood the philosophy of really captivating the minds and the imagination. And then thus from the books, it came out to be the movies where they were able to put that, the words that she put down into life, right? Into action, into motion. And thus the reason why that it was very, very successful and why it went as long as it did, because she understood that absolute science. So who's the first one that inspired me? In terms of storytelling, you guys may find it funny, right? But I would have to say from Reading Rainbow, right, with LeVar Burton. And it was just something about how the way he created stories, right? It was really just with children's books, but how the way he really made it, captivating. He turned that into life. Wasn't really concerned about the children's books. That's not what really attracted me. But how the way that he presented it, how he had the joy, right? The flair, the enthusiasm, how the way that him and his production crew, they was able to put the pictures as far as on TV and make it almost lifelike. That's the thing that really inspired me. And I said, and plus too, by the way, he looked like me as well, if you catch my drift. So I say, well, cool. If he can do that, then why can't I? So I would say he was the first one that inspired me to do so.